Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Arlington Heights Village Board meeting. Today is September 15, 2025, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll start by all rising and joining together in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Maggie, if you can call the roll, please.
Trustee Zyck.
Here.
Trustee Manganaro.
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck.
Here.
Trustee Shirley. Trustee LaBedz.
Here.
Trustee Santa Maria. Here. Trustee Bertucci.
Here.
Trustee Dunnington.
Here.
President Tinaglia.
Here. Thank you, Maggie. Under item 4, we have approval of minutes, and we have one set tonight from 9/2/25. Are there any changes or corrections from anyone on the board? Anyone who needs to pass at all? Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or comments on the minutes from 9/2/25? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move approval of the minutes of September 2nd, 2025.
Second.
Motion made by trustee LaBedz, second by trustee Zyck. Any further discussion? If not, this is not a roll call, is it?
Nope.
You can do voice vote or
Just
roll call.
voice vote. All is in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, motion carries. The next item is item 5, and that is the approval of accounts payable, and for that, I'll call on trustee Bertucci.
Mayor, I'll move approval of the warrant register for the check date September 15th, 2025, in the amount of $1,782,745.31.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee Schwingbeck. Is there any further comments or questions from anyone on the board or anyone in the audience? If not, roll call vote on this, please, Maggie.
Trustee Bertucci.
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck.
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria. Yes. Trustee Zyck.
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington.
Yes.
Trustee Manganaro.
Aye.
Trustee LaBedz.
Yes.
President Tinaglia.
Yes. All right, very good. Motion is carried. And now we're on to item 6, which is recognitions and communications. And we have 3 here tonight. The first one is a village favorite, and is sponsored by our Memorial Library. Is there someone from the library here that's going to address us? This is called One Book, One Village, and it's been going on for a number of years. How many years so far?
12.
12 years. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and share with us tonight.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor Tinaglia, village trustees, village staff, and the Arlington Heights community, both in person and at home. My name is Sherovich Tattoo, and I am an Info Services Advisor Coordinator at the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, and also this year's One Book, One Village lead.
My name is Neil Parker, and I'm a Programs and Exhibits Specialist at the Arlington Heights Memorial Library.
As I mentioned, the One Book, One Village is in its 12th year, and this initiative invites the community to read the same book at the same time and share in experiences through related programs and book discussions. Neil and I are excited to be with you all today to share this One Book, One Village title for 2025, which is The Stolen Queen by Fiona Davis. About the book. This book is set in dual timelines in 1936 Egypt and 1978 New York City. The Stolen Queen follows aspiring archaeologist Charlotte Cross, whose career is derailed by tragedy during a prestigious dig in the Valley of the Kings. Decades later, Annie Jenkins, an assistant to the fashion icon Diana Verlin, is entangled in a mystery when an ancient Egyptian artifact disappears during the Met Gala preparations. Her search for answers leads her to Charlotte, now a reclusive curator at the Met, and together they return to Egypt to uncover the truth. Fiona Davis is a New York Times bestselling author known for her historical fiction centered around New York City's iconic landmarks. She brings her signature blend of drama and heart to this unforgettable story of art, identity, and legacy. So this book, we find, connects with our community. It is a historical mystery and adventure, which that programming has resonated with our Arlington Heights community. We currently have 872 people signed up for our established programs during our 11-week initiative. That's a huge number for us. Our community is also deeply interested in the inner workings of museums, how collections are acquired, curated, and interpreted, as well as the vital and evolving conversation around the repatriation of cultural artifacts. We are especially engaged with the ethical, historical, and cultural implications of returning heritage items to their communities of origin and how these efforts contribute to justice, reconciliation, and global cultural understanding. The library offers museum and attraction passes to our community members. This is a widely popular service that we provide, and the passes over the past year we've actually doubled them. We used to offer 4 passes. We now offer 8 throughout 2025, and because of that, we're able to fulfill more requests. If you haven't used the service, I highly recommend it. We've also already surpassed our numbers in 2024 for those museum passes. Also, Fiona's book Fiona Davis as an author is extremely popular with our community of readers. So far, we have a total checkout of 2,300 across all formats of her book, so very popular. One of the big things with picking a book for our community, we pay special attention to accessibility, and it's important and a strong consideration when choosing our title. The Stolen Queen is available in a variety of formats, from regular print, large print, audiobook, e-audiobook, and e-book in Cloud Library. We also have copies for not only regular checkout, but we offer sets for our community of book club members to take out a set, and we have 25 book club members that have already, or groups I should say, that have already requested sets. We also have a few copies of Fiona's other titles. Some of her bestsellers are The Spectacular, The Magnolia Place, and The Lions of Fifth Avenue.
All right. Our One Book, One Village programming is designed to go beyond the page, giving our community a richer cultural, historical, and literary context to this book. Programs that you'll see up here, such as Building the Pyramids, The Windy City Meets the Nile, and Armchair Archaeology, offer expert insights into ancient Egypt. And these aren't just fun events. They provide access to top-tier scholarship. So for example, we'll have experts from the University of Chicago, Harvard University, the Art Institute of Chicago, and we just recently hosted Lee Bay over at Coachell, who's a respected Chicago architecture critic. These partnerships allow us to bring expert voices and high-quality content directed to Arlington Heights. And we also offer hand-on programs as well, like Etch an Egyptian Cartouche, where attendees can create their own using tools from our Makerplace. We gave you some of those too in your packets. It's a keychain with your name in hieroglyphics on there, which is something anyone can do at the Makerplace. And Makerplace is also doing essentials classes themed after the Egyptian theme that we have going on. And we're creating special opportunities to connect as well through our One Book, One Village Gala, our One Book Gala, One Book, One Gala, I'm sorry, that's how we say it. Stolen Queen Trivia, and we also have book discussions, 10 of them, which include an Egyptian culinary demo and discussion, and we'll do our usual in-person, virtual, and ESL-focused discussions as well, along with discussions at the Senior Center. And then we'll close things out with our signature event, An Evening with Fiona Davis, where we'll explore themes like storytelling, history, and women's voices across time. Altogether, these programs bring Egypt to life not just as a setting in the novel, but as a rich historical and cultural lens. This is big for us, so I want to invite all of you, as well as everyone in the room, to please come to this, our One Book, One Gala. One of the major highlights this year is our One Book, One Gala event, an evening celebrating art, fashion, culture, all inspired by the Stolen Queen. Guests will enjoy live music, art galleries, a mini costume exhibit, hors d'oeuvres and desserts, photo opportunities, and signature cocktails from local vendors. And what really makes this special and unique to Arlington Heights, I think, already we've worked with our partners at Coachell to host programs. We've got another one coming up in a couple weeks. We work with Eddie's for our book discussion, and of course Forest View will host us. The gala will feature an all Arlington Heights lineup, including Minay Anil from Blue Fern Ceramics, Nam Smith from El Rey Music. Bitter and Sweet Cocktails will be doing our cocktails for the evening, as well as Soha's Sweet Treats. So these partnerships show how the library connects with and supports local creatives, entrepreneurs, educators, all working together to create something special for the community. Next slide. Be kind of quick with this. We're out and about in the village, so you'll see us at the Farmers Market, Harmony Fest, and Autumn Harvest. And then we're also bringing One Book, One Village to District 214, to the Adult Education Department, Harper College, connecting with ESL and GED students. And so again, you'll see some of these outreach items in with your books, and those include the custom keychains, water bottle and notebook stickers, OBOV brochures. And again, this is just kind of there to make this initiative much more approachable. And we will culminate things with a visit from Fiona Davis. So I won't repeat everything that Sherry said because this is a big get for us. She is a huge author. But I will say that we will be joined by Allison Cuddy, who will be the moderator that evening. Allison Cuddy is a highly respected figure in Chicago's cultural community. She's the former host at WBEZ, former artistic director of the Chicago Humanities Festival, and also member of the City of Chicago's Cultural Advisory Council. So this, we think, gives this event, this initiative, major visibility and depth.
All right, so if you want to know more, you want to find out more about One Book, One Village and the Stolen Queen, we encourage everyone to visit our website, which is ahml.info/onebook. You'll be able to find everything you see up here about the book, about the author. You'll be able to sign up for the author event. You'll be able to register for programs, for the gala, for all the book discussions. You can also request a set of books for your book club and get the discussion questions. We also have, in historical fiction, often they touch on topics but don't go into depth. So if you're interested in anything touched in the book, we have some Explore More resources where you can learn more about, there will be links to everything about Egyptian museum exhibits, local Chicago museums, theft and repatriation of cultural artifacts, things about the Met Gala, women's resilience throughout history, and then some local connections and library resources to learn more about Egypt and beyond. We also have some custom book lists where you can find to explore fiction and nonfiction with related themes of the Stolen Queen if you're looking for more. In conclusion, Neil and I hope you're as excited about this year's One Book Village as we are. We thank you for your time this evening, and if you have any questions, we're more than willing to answer them.
Oh, very nice. Thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Sounds like it'll be interesting for everyone to do, so I hope a lot of people join. It sounds like you're already on your way to that. So any questions from the board? Trustee Dunnington.
Thank you, Mayor. I really enjoy historical fiction, so I got this book right away, and I'm really enjoying it. I feel like it's definitely a page turner so far. I also really appreciate all the programming events that you have. It seems like if you aren't interested in the book, there's still a lot of programming that you might like as well. I listened to the Zoom that was about evidence of building the pyramids, and it was really interesting. I think that there's kind of something for everybody. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the feedback.
Anyone else? Trustee LaBedz?
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here tonight. This is always one of my very favorite village board meetings. I've said it before, and everybody can get tired of hearing me say it again.
Never.
But I'm always excited to hear from you all about the One Book, One Village, and to get my very own copy of it. But this time it came with a cartouche, so which I actually have one at home. My mother bought in Egypt many, many years ago when she was on a trip, so I'll have to be wearing it this fall and around town. But no, this is, I'm really excited. I've heard good things about this author. I have not read her, so I'm glad to be introduced to a new author. And I'm also glad we don't have another board meeting for 2 weeks. We get a week off, so I have more time to read this book. But thank you very much for this and all the programming, and I'm also already signed up for the author talk in October, so
We appreciate your support.
yeah, thank you.
Trustee Zyck?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor. Sherry, Neil, thank you. Wonderful, wonderful presentation. Looking forward to this again. There's two things about this whole program that always has struck me. I've read all 11 books before. And what it always winds up doing is it takes me out of my comfort zone, but in a good way. They think so hard about what books they're going to put there, what the staff does to come up with these books. And it takes me out of my comfort zone. It allows me to do something and go to a different place, a genre that I normally wouldn't go to. And that has always been one of the incredible things. I can't wait to read this. Though I will say this is probably a little bit closer to the genres I read, but I'm so looking forward to this. The second thing has to do with the name, One Book, One Village. You know, it's one of these things, you know, we've got so much going on, obviously, in society right now that to separate us. This is one of those things that we have in this village that has been so awesome over these last 11 years, doing something to bring everybody together, the discussions, the meetings, the events that you have. I always love the author visit at the end of the year. So thank you to the library for continuing to do this, to keep this going, and I love seeing this every year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, well, it's all been said, and no one could say it better than Trustee Zyck. So you guys do excellent work at the library, and everybody knows it, and this is just another example of that. So thank you for being here tonight and sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is the presentation of the 2025 Kenneth Hood Senior Service Award. Randy, who's gonna, okay, we have someone stepping up right now.
Good evening, President Tinaglia and the Village Board. Tracy Colagrossi is
Hi, Tracy.
with me here for a moment. I am Fred Vogt. I am a commissioner with the Arlington Heights Senior Citizens Commission. Several of our commissioners are here with us in the audience for this award. To give you a little short history on Kenneth Hood and the award that was established in 2007. The Dr. Kenneth Hood Award recognizes individuals and organizations that have carried forward the torch of service on behalf of today's senior citizen population. Dr. Hood lived to be 100 years old. He was very active in our community and served as a volunteer for many years. When he stepped away from service, in his words, he hoped that, quote, the torch be passed forward for volunteer service. Candidates nominated to receive the annual Kenneth Hood Award must exhibit some or all of the following: to demonstrate a significant contribution for volunteer service to the senior community, develop, provide, or conduct programs or services that enhance the quality of life for older adults, embrace or nurture activities that positively affect the lives of the senior citizen population. While candidates' residency can be outside of Arlington Heights, their volunteering must significantly impact the older adults of Arlington Heights. There is a nominating process that takes place usually in April, May. Nominations are submitted by residents, by patrons of the Senior Center, by organizations and agencies involved with providing senior services on a voluntary basis. Our subcommittee reviews these in June and July and selects a recipient by the end of July. This year, our award winners are Al and Donna Coons. They are here. If I could tell you just a little bit about Al and Donna. They are residents of Arlington Heights. Donna is a longtime member of the Arlington Heights Nurses Club. Together, they began volunteering in the closet of the lending closet, sorry. I missed a word on here. The lending closet. Right around the time of the pandemic, 2020. Through their dedicated efforts, along with the team of nurses and volunteers, they were able to continue services throughout those challenging times and ensure that people had the proper equipment that they needed. Al and Donna arranged for the closet to be efficient, helped train everyone on a new software system. Additionally, they have created new partnerships with organizations to take the lending closet surpluses and then have that distributed to needy folks in underserved communities. They have also been creative in making the lending closet more marketable, displaying photos of the equipment in the hallways so folks know what equipment is available. Together in 2024, they have contributed 260 volunteer hours. Additionally, they generously take the time to put up their extensive holiday village out on display at the Senior Center for the last couple of years. It has been an enjoyment to see people's faces light up in awe at the holiday village that they provide. They are a kind, funny, and compassionate couple. Speaking for the Senior Center, we are truly grateful to have them serve our community at the lending closet. So with that, I would ask Al and Donna to come forward. Present this award to you in recognition of all of your outstanding service to the Arlington Heights Village and the senior community in particular.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mayor will be right behind you. Yep. Whatever works. Congratulations.
You can get the official. I'm just gonna...
Good time over this.
And then we got there too. Yep.
Okay, look straight over here. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 1 more. Thank you very much.
You want to get, wait.
And then I'll take one of these.
Do you want, would you guys like to say anything? I've got a microphone right here, so make sure that's on. It's ready to go. So right ahead.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Your audience is yours.
Nice job, Fred. My name is Albert, and my wife Donna, and I just wanted to add a couple of things to what Fred said already. Actually, our lending closet will loan out medical equipment to more than just senior citizens. We have youngsters coming in and a lot of people that are a lot younger than us seniors. So I wanted to make that point. The other thing I wanted to do was thank Gail and Rose for nominating us for this award. And I'd also like to thank Tracy, who wrote a very flattering memo that appeared in the Daily Herald. And I'd like to thank also all of the volunteers that work with us in the lending closet, because it wouldn't be possible. We have about 20 nurses and volunteers that help Donna and I in the closet 6 days a week, 7 shifts a week to get our medical equipment out to people that need it. One of the things that I looked at was the lending closet started in the 1950s by the Nurses Club. So we've been in existence now for over 75 years. And we've been in the senior center for the past 25 years. And just to give you an idea of what we accomplished there, last year we had 1,521 guests come through our lending closet to borrow medical equipment. And what they borrowed were 2,480 pieces of medical equipment from our lending closet. And this is all at no charge. We don't ask for fees. Other lending closets want to deposit. We do all of our work for no charge, and we appreciate when someone gives us a donation. One of the things that I calculated was medical equipment will cost, depending if it's a wheelchair or a crutch or some kind of equipment, it'll cost you on an average of $100. So these 2,400 people, we saved them last year about $250,000 by coming to our lending closet and not going to drugstores or Walgreens or wherever, purchasing this equipment. So there's a really great community action going on from our lending closet. That's what I wanted to say.
Very well.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation and a wonderful tribute to some great work in our community. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
Next, under recognitions and communications, is the 2025 Illinois Traffic Safety Challenge Awards. And I see some folks dressed up very, very smartly here for this outfit that's going to get awarded here. Chief Pecora.
Well, good evening, Mayor Tinaglia, members of the board. The police department's excited to be here for this first of 4 agenda items on your docket this evening. Joining me this evening are Deputy Chief Joe Pinello and Deputy Chief Greg Zernicki. Germane to this conversation is the side of the organizational chart that Deputy Chief Zernicki leads. It's the Support Operations Division, which is where Commander Sefton holds the Community Services Bureau. Under his leadership is our traffic unit, and that is currently supervised by Sergeant Tim Scanlon, and Officer Jeff Aiello and Officer Dave Lavin are joining us this evening. Officer Matt Bocek is unable to be here, along with Sergeant Russ Mandel, who was instrumental in this award. He retired in June. So I firmly believe that we succeed as a team, but sometimes you need to call out the superstars. And the superstars are sitting right over there. They're the ones that are making the roadways safe in Arlington Heights. And to affirm that, standing behind me is Mr. Scott Christensen, who is the director of the Illinois Traffic Safety Challenge, who would like to present to you the Traffic Safety Challenge Awards that the police department won last year.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. President, Village Board, thank you for this opportunity to recognize both the police department and the village with these recognitions. Again, like you said, my name is Scott Christensen. I'm the program director for the Illinois Traffic Safety Challenge. The Traffic Safety Challenge is a recognition program that is between like size and like type police agencies throughout the state of Illinois. We have different categories for that competition. The program is coordinated by the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, the Illinois Department of Transportation, and is supported by NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The program honors agencies that have successfully implemented comprehensive traffic safety programs that require specific elements. This is not about who writes the most tickets or who makes the most arrests. This is about what agencies have the most comprehensive traffic safety programs. Those programs include sound policy, officer training, recognition programs, public outreach, public information and education, and targeted data-driven enforcement. The Illinois Traffic Safety Challenge, it encourages agencies to set comprehensive goals and develop programs that help to make the roadways of the individual jurisdictions safer. The areas that this program targets are occupant protection, impaired driving, distracted driving, and speed awareness. The traffic challenge provides law enforcement agencies the opportunity to make significant differences in their communities. Winning programs effectively combine many different strategies to help reduce crashes and injuries within their jurisdictions. This year, the Arlington Heights Police Department was recognized with a first place award in the category of 101 to 250 officers. Additionally, this program recognizes specific programs within the presentations and programs that the police department has. This year, 2 of those specialty awards were won by the Arlington Heights Police Department, and that was the specialty distracted driving and occupant protection awareness programs. While the inscription on the awards that we have here tonight says the Arlington Heights Police Department, I'm really presenting this award to the village of Arlington Heights. Because without your support as a village board, the village management team, and the citizens of Arlington Heights, the accomplishments and the program that they do have would not be what it is. I've been through my career and things that I've done. I've also worked at the national level when they had a national recognition program. So I've seen programs from across the country and, of course, all the programs in Illinois. And I can tell you that your community, your support for the police department, and their programs are the best in the state. If it weren't for your support and the support of the citizens, your business community, private sector clubs and associations, this award would not be here tonight to be presented. You are all winners tonight. Ultimately, this Traffic Safety Challenge Award is about saving lives and reducing the number of related severe crashes. Your efforts are no doubt, all of you, police department and your efforts have saved lives of untold citizens and people who work, travel, and live in Arlington Heights. So tonight I'd like to present the awards. If we could have a representative bring the awards here. Mr. President, if you could come down and help accept the awards along with the chief. This first award is the Distracted Driving Specialty Award. And we'll come up here, okay.
I have a microphone that you can use. And you're sharing things that everyone in this room already knew, that this police department, under the guidance of that young man and all of his team, are the tops. There's no doubt about it. But thank you for doing this. Is fabulous. Here, you take that and go ahead and speak.
Thank you. Again, you know, from my standpoint, and then we'll go here with this award here. From the presentations I've seen here tonight, you guys have a special community. You have a special village, and I'm sure you all know that, but for everybody that's watching today, whether you're a village resident or not, this is a top-notch police department. This is a top-notch community and village. And so with that, I'd like to say congratulations to the police department and specifically the village for these recognitions. Keep up the good work and helping to make your streets safe.
Thanks. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I already made my introductory comments that, the team succeeds as a whole, but sometimes you have to recognize the superstars. And these gentlemen are the ones that are out there every day keeping our community safe, making sure that people adhere to the rules of the road and doing the behavior modification that we need to do. So I appreciate their effort on a daily basis. Thank you.
And I know we all do too. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the department, it's really, really an honor to be part of this crew. So thank you for being who you all are. On behalf of all the residents of Arlington Heights, we're all blessed to have you. Thank you, and congratulations on winning. Fabulous.
Okay, ready? 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'll do one more. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Before you all leave, but first of all, sorry, I pushed the button, I shouldn't have. Before you all leave, first of all, congratulations, but could you explain the occupant protection specialty award? I understand distracted driving.
So the occupant protection is that recognition or the elements of winning that specific award has to do with what do you have and what are you doing with the resources you have available. It includes community outreach in different areas, whether it's for child passenger safety, whether it's with adult passengers. They have a great teen program for their outreach with teenagers. A lot of us are from a time when we didn't wear seatbelts, and so now it's become habit. But their outreach in the community, it is phenomenal. They go out there, they make a lot of connections with all elements within the community, at need community. It's a whole wide variety, and so that's what it's recognized for. It's a comprehensive program, similar, if you have a comprehensive total program, you have a comprehensive for the specialty awards also. It's not just one thing that you did.
Okay, thank you, and that's great. I've seen some of the statistics from when you've done a campaign at 4th of July or whatever, and there'd be a certain number of people that were stopped because they didn't wear their seatbelt or things like that. So now I understand. Thank you
Yes.
very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Any other questions while I'm here? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're going to move on into, we don't have any public hearings tonight, but we do have citizens to be heard. And I have a handful of blue cards here. If anyone wants to address the board on an item that's on the upcoming agenda here, please feel free to grab one of these in the back, fill it out, hand it over to Maggie. I have about 6 of these. Some of them I know are on specific topics, so we're going to wait on those. Megan, come on up.
Am I audible? Oh, wow, this
You're
is
good.
loud.
You're good.
All right. Okay. Good evening. So before I begin, I'd like to thank you all for taking public comment. I'm glad to be able to engage with our local government. So my name's Megan. I've lived in the northwest suburbs for my whole life, but my family moved to Arlington Heights about 10 years ago, and I've been very happy with my life here. I like visiting the library and walking in downtown Arlington Heights. So tonight, I'd like to share a suggestion to try to make life here welcoming for as many people as possible, and my comment is on the question of if Arlington Heights should display a pride flag in the Village Hall. So I'll say that I support the Village of Arlington Heights displaying a pride flag or other symbols supporting LGBTQ+ people as a public show of support for the community. I'm not sure if I would like it to be in the Village Hall, but I would like to see one in the Village, and I'd like to see the Village do it as a first step in supporting LGBTQ+ organizations and services. I believe it is so important that LGBTQ+ people have support in Arlington Heights because I myself have experienced how insensitive others can be to those in the community. When my family moved to Arlington Heights in January 2016, I was a very tomboyish preteen girl. Back then, I was exploring my gender identity. I had a bowl cut and very thick Ray-Ban glasses. I looked very androgynous, but honestly, I thought it was cool and I didn't care much about it. I was much more concerned about making new friends. In 4 months, I would graduate from my Catholic middle school, leaving behind the only world I had ever known. I was a little reassured, though, by the fact that my mom was considering sending me to a familiar place, the local Catholic high school, St. Viator. At the time, St. Viator had shadow days where prospective students could receive a tour of the school from an older student. I signed up for one. I was so nervous about being around new people when I walked in, and when I met my guide, I was still nervous. My trepidation grew when we walked into her literature class. All I could focus on was the sea of giant teenagers in front of me. My guide introduced me. I nodded at them, but I just wanted to sit in my chair and blend in. In front, an older boy turned to glance at me. He then said, and I quote, "It's a girl? It. I-T." A few students laughed. The teacher did not say anything, and I just sat down. My God, I was mortified. Even now, when I think about that day, that's the first thing I remember. Instead of receiving the welcoming that I needed, I experienced a very isolating dehumanization. I felt so alone, but I didn't know who to tell. I didn't know of anyone else in the suburbs who supported progressive ideas. I entered St. Viator feeling unsure. I later left the school for other reasons, but that lack of support for other socially progressive beliefs I later developed was one of the main things that made me want to transfer to my district's public school, Prospect High School. There, I found teachers who respected me. My senior year creative writing teacher, in particular, helped me immensely. I wrote a story with 2 gay main characters that I showed her, and she read my story and encouraged me to submit to the Daily Herald's writing contest. After I graduated, she helped me edit my college essays, and thanks to her and other supportive teachers, I was accepted into most of the colleges I applied to, and I ultimately graduated from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Their support meant the world to me. They helped me become me, fully and unabashedly. It is because of this that I'm asking the board to show the pride flag or another symbol supporting the LGBTQ+ community as a first step in supporting LGBTQ+ people or those affiliated with or allied with the community in Arlington Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. You know what, Randy, if you might want to give Megan your business card, you can fill her in on where we are with that and what we've done recently, because it's been a topic that we have discussed. But thank you for your comments tonight. Next is Amy Elston. And Amy, what I neglected to say to Megan, I'll say with you, we try to keep these at about 3 minutes if we can.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
I am coming after the recognition of the police department. My comments are not saying that they are doing a bad job. I think they are doing a fabulous job. And I think we all just need to work as a community to support them, to support everyone. Okay, so good evening. My name is Amy Elston, and I'm a parent in the Windsor school community. I'm here tonight to speak about the intersection at Kensington and Windsor. Every day, families and our crossing guard face real danger at this crossing. This past school year, we had a serious car accident at the intersection during school pickup time. On a nearly daily basis, we have drivers speed through, fail to stop, and even act aggressively towards children, parents, and even the crossing guard herself. Just last week, a driver harassed her for taking too long while she was crossing children at the intersection. This isn't just frustrating, it's unsafe. We all know it only takes one close call to become a tragedy. And unfortunately, this intersection already has had a tragic history. 35 years ago this year, 2 children were struck by a car there. I get chills when I read the news articles that reported the 9-year-old lay unconscious on Kensington Road, his head severely injured when it hit the windshield of the car. That was a quote from the Herald. Before that accident, neighbors had already been asking for safety improvements, and afterward, the community rallied together to get a warning light installed. We shouldn't have to repeat history here. Please don't make us wait until another accident happens before action is taken. We have together in our community, we have gotten a petition started and we have over 300 signatures. And I know that you guys are aware of this intersection and are looking at it. At the end of last school year, we did see the monitors going up. I want to point out that the monitoring that was done when Prospect High School was already out of session. So they were off for the summer. So the whole study does not take into account any of the Prospect High School drivers. And they obviously are a big part of the safety on Kensington Road. So I just want to bring this to the forefront. And say that it's an urgent matter. It's not. It shouldn't be something that's put at the back. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your comments. That one has to wait. That one will wait. Cheryl Brown.
Hello, I'm back again. I was here 6 weeks ago on August 4th, and I know a couple of you were absent that day. And Bill, I want to thank you again for coming over to the Airbnb that's across the street from my house in a 100% residential area that has just become an increased nuisance. Just last week, I had a van pull up, backed up into the garage. 4 men got out. They were wearing hoodies, black masks, and they were bringing bags into the house. There was really no, reason that I should call the police because I didn't see them doing anything wrong, but it just makes it look kind of scary. This house is advertised that it can sleep 14 people. I've been constantly taking pictures of the house and the people. Tonight when I left, you would just be in shock of what I saw as I was leaving to come here today. But anyway, I was just wondering if it's on the agenda because especially with Arlington Park coming, the Chicago Bears coming to Arlington Park, that, this is going to be a party house. And many of the other communities are now changing their laws, including New York City, that is saying that Airbnb rental has to be at least 30 days so you don't have these party houses.
Cheryl, your comments are well understood, and I think we are trying to sink our teeth into what to do with this. It is a very timely issue, and I know staff is looking into it pretty heavily right now so that they can advise this board on certain kinds of regulations that make sense, right? So I appreciate your comments, and we hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's something we're actively working on based on the direction of the board the last time this was discussed. So we're looking both on a potentially long-term basis and a short-term basis on this issue. The one thing we would stress is, regardless of what regulations come of this, if you witness any activity that are legal, perhaps in violation of a noise ordinance, parking ordinance, property maintenance ordinance, please let us know, rental or not. These are violations of the law, and we will, cite those folks as appropriate.
And unfortunately, it's right across the street, so I do see a lot that's going on. I'm not looking for trouble. I just hear it and see it all the time. And I used to live in Glenview, and I took the Citizens Police Academy course, which was wonderful. Hope to take Arlington. And they taught us what to look for.
Yeah, we would definitely encourage you to call the village if you see anything that you think is a violation. Again, irregardless of whether it's a rental property or not, there are property maintenance standards.
And if there's anything I can do to help with any of my research that I've already done with other communities and what their rules are, I'd be happy to add that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I have 2 more cards, but they're both for items that are in the upcoming part of the agenda, so we'll hold on those. Do you both agree on that? Okay. So the next is the consent agenda. And I'm going to ask the trustees first. Is there anyone who wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda to be voted on separately? Is there anyone that wish?
Please.
Go ahead.
I think I preempted you. Please.
Okay, is there anyone who wishes to vote no or pass on one of the items of the agenda? Trustee Manganaro.
I would like to vote no on item H, the grocery tax.
Okay, duly noted. Anyone else? Items on the consent agenda. There is a request from an audience member, Keith Moans, consent agenda H. He would like further explanation of that. So, Manager Recklouse, Hart, what would be the appropriate action here for tonight?
Art, do you want to take this one? This is the grocery tax change.
Happy to provide an explanation. As you know, Mayor, it's up to the board whether or not to take an item off the consent agenda, but I can attempt to explain it now if you'd like. This item is on your agenda because the Department of Revenue has requested a clarification in the language of the ordinance. They've communicated that to a number of communities in the area, and so this item is substantively the same as what the board voted on last month, but this contains the language in the format that the Department of Revenue has requested.
And to be clear, this language means no change in the existing grocery tax that's in place today.
As it is?
As it is exactly today, yeah.
Okay. Is there someone on the board that wants to go ahead and have this taken off of the agenda?
Off the consent agenda.
Consent agenda, yeah. Okay, seeing none. Mr. Moans, do you want to be recognized on this? As you are the author of the blue card here in my hand. I'm just giving you the opportunity if you'd like.
Thank you, President Tinaglia. Yeah, I just wanted some clarification on it, but I also would request that it be pulled off the agenda, that it be voted on separately. And so I don't see the distinction between having someone pull it off or to ask a trustee to pull it off. And I would ask that you, as the president, would pull that off to be, as we used to do, pull it off to be voted on separately.
Yeah. Okay, those are your comments?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Passman, what would be the proper approach at this point on this?
You may recall, Mayor Tinaglia, I think it was about last year, we discussed village board protocols. Under the Illinois Municipal Code, under the Village Code, anyone in the audience may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately, but ultimately, that is a decision to be made by the board. And under the Illinois Municipal Code, any board member can request an item to be removed from the consent agenda for any reason or no reason, but absent a board member making that request, then the items that were listed on the consent agenda can be voted on with one omnibus vote.
Okay, and as you pointed out a minute ago, this was already voted on a month ago, and the only thing that's changing here tonight is a language.
Correct. And I should also note, and this is consistent with your prior request of the board, having a consent agenda or an omnibus agenda, as it's sometimes called, does not mean that you have to vote the same way on each item. And indeed, Trustee Manganaro has indicated that he'd like to vote no on this very item H. It's perfectly legal. All the consent agenda or omnibus agenda is, it's one vote, but someone can say, I vote yes on these items and no on those items, et cetera. So it really, the reason to have it is for efficiency. The reason to pull it is if a trustee would like discussion or a separate vote. And again, they can have any reason or no reason for that. But ultimately, this is in the determination of the village board.
Okay. Well, I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone on the board that wants to pull this off for separate discussion? We have one no vote registered so far. And if not, we're going to do a roll call vote. I guess what we'll have to do is make a motion to approve first. So is there anyone who wants to make that motion?
Mr. Mayor, I having been on the other side of the dais when that clarification was made to our code, I believe that it is really important for a resident to be able to have an item pulled. I've already registered a no vote, but I want to be sure that residents can have a trustee who will pull an item if requested, and so I'm doing so.
Okay, so be it. We'll make a motion then on all other items except item H for the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I would move approval of consent agenda items A through G.
Second.
We have a motion from trustee Schwingbeck and second by trustee LaBedz. Any further discussion on those items? Maggie, could you call the roll?
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington,
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria,
Yes.
Trustee Manganaro,
Aye.
Trustee Zyck,
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
President Tinaglia.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, and while we're here, I think we'll go ahead and discuss item H if there is further discussion on it. Trustee Manganaro, feel free, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no further discussion on it. I made my thoughts clear, I believe, when we previously voted on the ordinance. As I said, I've registered my no vote, but I strongly support the right of residents to request the poll if there's further discussion from anyone else.
Okay, well said. Anyone else? Trustee Bertucci.
Mayor, I'll move approval of ordinance of item H on the consent agenda.
Second.
Second, motion made by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee LaBedz. Any further discussion? Anyone from the audience? Maggie?
Trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria,
No.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Zyck,
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington,
No.
Trustee Manganaro,
Nay.
President Tinaglia.
Yes. Is there a result on that you can share?
There are 5 ayes and 3 nays.
Okay. Sounds like motion carries, so that language is approved as written. And that ends the consent agenda section of our agenda. New business is next, and the first item is the appointment of Sarah Altieri to the Arts Commission with a term ending April 30th, 2028. And I'd like to call on Trustee Dunnington.
Thank you. I move, as I did in the committee of the whole meeting, to concur in the mayor's appointment of Sarah Altieri to the Arts Commission, term ending April 30th, 2028.
And it's seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. Sarah, if you could come up to the podium.
All those in favor?
We'll do it after she does, right? No? We can do it right now. All those in favor say aye?
Aye. Aye.
All right, very good. Unopposed. So you've been voted on, but now I have to swear you in. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. So if you raise your right hand and say aye, you repeat your whole name.
I, Sarah Altieri,
Having been appointed to the Arts Commission
having been appointed to the Arts Commission
in the Village of Arlington Heights,
in the Village of Arlington Heights,
in the County of Cook,
in the County of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my ability.
No, you will. Congratulations. So this is a pin that you can wear like all the rest of us up here because you're part of us. And this is an oath for you to sign in front of Maggie. Clerk. Well, she's got a pen. I'll keep this one for me. Thank you. Congratulations. You bet. And then we have item B, which is 600 West University Drive. It's Tasty Breads, PC number 25-016. Is the petitioner here? Come on up. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and why you're here tonight.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Tom Budzik. I'm the architect for this project on behalf of the applicant, Tasty Breads. Tasty Breads is here seeking a land use variation and related zoning variation to allow for a food processing use in the N1 zoning district. A little bit about Tasty Breads. They've been in business since 1992. They have 2 facilities, one in Northbrook and the other in Franklin Park. They currently employ 200 people across those 2 facilities. Due to the success of their business, they've been looking to expand into another manufacturing facility and found this location at 600 West University Drive. This is a unique building in that the previous user was producing vitamins and supplements at the facility, so it's basically a food-grade facility as is. They are looking to expand their process lines into this facility. A couple of things about how they conduct their business. Despite the name, there's no actual baking that goes on in their facilities. What they do is they are a wholesale distributor of frozen dough products. Those frozen dough products are go to wholesale distributors, which then distribute them to the end users, and the end users then bake them at their facilities. So what they're doing is basically they're mixing flour and water, molding it, freezing it, packaging it, and then delivering it to distributors. The site is approximately 100,000 square foot building. They are currently planning to have 2 process lines in the facility with room for 2 additional process lines in the future. Their long-term plans for the facility, they would have up to 150 employees at this location, spread over 2 shifts, so 75 production employees per shift. There is a sizable amount of office space within the building, but they are maintaining their administrative and executive offices at their Northbrook facility, so they'll be using minimal office space at this current facility. Besides the land use variation, we're also requesting a variation from the parking study for the site. The site has approximately 130 parking spaces. And based on their number of employees that they have at their Northbrook facility, which is comparable in size, they anticipate only using about 50 to 60 parking spaces, so it's well over parked. The site has 6 loading docks, 4 that they're going to dedicate for shipping and 2 for receiving. By contrast, their facility in Northbrook has 3 total loading docks, and again, a facility of comparable size. We do have a traffic study as well included in our packet. We've shown that the additional truck traffic on in the area is going to be minimal. Unlike a traditional bakery, which has a number of box trucks that might come at a certain peak hour, they are going to have 6 deliveries spread out over the course of the day. So they're not going to have that large traffic congestion. And with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions that the trustees may have.
Very good. I think before we do that, I think staff may have a little report for us to review.
I do, and the representative for the petitioner covered this in a lot of detail, so I won't repeat what he has shared. But as he mentioned, Tasty Breads is seeking some zoning relief for the property at 600 West University Drive. It is a 4.5-acre property that is currently zoned M1 in our Research Development and Light Manufacturing District. They are requesting the land use variation to permit bakery products production and wholesale land use within the M1 district. That is typically a land use that is only allowed within our M2 district. And as he mentioned, a variation to waive the requirement to provide the detailed parking analysis. This is the site plan for the site. Just wanted to note that, as is typical with existing buildings, staff does go out and do a landscaping compliance check. This particular site is missing some of the required landscaping per code, and the petitioner has agreed to install that landscaping as part of this application. So you can see in the area shown in green, those are the areas where additional landscaping will be installed to bring the site into compliance with our code. This is an image depicting the loading docks the petitioner just mentioned and providing the detailed parking analysis. While there is a deficit of 3 parking spaces, the code does allow for a waiver of those 3 spaces if staff deems that the site is substantially in compliance with the code and those spaces aren't needed. We do concur with their request that a parking analysis is not needed and that there should be sufficient parking for the use. The Plan Commission did consider this request at their August 27th meeting and did unanimously recommend approval of the request, subject to the conditions you see on the slide. One more thing I would like to note that is not contained within the staff report of this presentation is that Tasty Breads is interested in expanding the building. They have submitted a separate Plan Commission application to build an addition onto the building. That will be considered separate from this and will go through our standard process. In addition to that, they are also requesting a Cook County, Class 6B exemption, which would be something that would be considered by the village board at the next meeting. So just wanted to provide that additional context. Neither the addition nor the Class B is the subject of what we're here for tonight, but I did want to share that information. So the motion that's before the board this evening is the motion to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare the final documents granting the zoning relief that's been requested and subject to the recommended conditions as set forth in the agenda materials in your packet this evening.
Thanks, Ms. Rodman. So really quickly, you're not moved in here yet, right?
No, they just purchased the building and they're in the process of getting permits.
And that was my second question. It's a purchase, it's not a lease, right?
It's a purchase, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, questions from the board? Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick question. I know it's not close, but there's a neighborhood nearby, and I noticed that they're going to be operating on 2 shifts.
Correct.
Is the shipping and receiving, is that all going to be done on first shift, or is it going to be spread out over the evening hours as well?
So their shipping department closes, I believe, at 7 o'clock. They shut down their operations.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on this side? Nope. Anyone on this side? Trustee LaBedz?
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for bringing Tasty Bread to Arlington Heights. The way it sounds is that this will actually be their 3rd location and the other 2 will remain open. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
That means you really are expanding, so which is always very exciting to do. So I have a couple questions. One is, if, as I recall reading in the materials, that there's 2 operating shifts for making the dough, basically.
Yes.
But then there'll be a 3rd shift for cleaning services?
Yes, there's an overnight cleaning crew. It's a minimal size crew. They come in to disinfect the process lines.
Okay, so there'll definitely be plenty of parking for them. So that's good. And I also wanted to ask about the, how you get the products in, specifically the flour, because that can be kind of messy.
Sure, good question. So it's actually, the flour is delivered in tanker trucks. They're gonna come into the northwest corner of the site, next to one of the existing loading docks. They have a flour manifold. Basically, they connect a pipe to the tanker truck directly to the building, and then that flour gets pumped to internal flour silos within the building. So there's no dust or anything as a result.
And minimal dust within the facility then too.
Correct,
With
yes.
the way it is. Okay, thanks. I just wanted to make sure I understood that part of it. That's all. I think it's great, and I'd be happy to make the motion.
Why don't you go ahead?
I move to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare final documents granting the zoning relief requested and subject to the recommended conditions, all as set forth in the agenda materials for tonight's board meeting.
Second.
Motion made by trustee LaBedz, seconded by trustee Schwingbeck. Any further discussion?
I do have a question. I also appreciate Tasty Bread coming to Arlington Heights, and I'll just sort of ditto everything that trustee LaBedz just said. The employment, all of it is really good to see. It's not clear to me from the materials we have whether you will scale up and begin to produce before the expansion and the freezing is put in.
So the building out of the process lines
Right.
takes a considerable amount of time. So
Okay.
the lead time on the equipment and everything else, so they have to get started as soon as possible
Mhm.
on the actual process lines. The expansion is not absolutely necessary, but will absolutely improve the efficiency of their process.
Okay, so then that was kind of my follow-on question. Within the absence of the freezing equipment on site, how does that whole process work from dough being produced to getting to where it needs to get to be frozen and then be distributed? I'm just pure curiosity.
Sure, yes. We can do internal freezers within the building. The building is large enough to accommodate that. It's just going to be much more efficient to do it as part of an addition.
Thank you.
Trustee Zyck?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. I know you're going to bring up the expansion later, but just one thing, quick question. When that expansion is made, is it going to affect the parking? Is there going to be some parking stalls that are going to be taken out?
Yes, there will be some that are going to be taken out.
The petitioner will need to seek a parking variation at that time.
Okay. And it's 75 employees per shift, 2 shifts. I thought it was weird when I saw one space for each 2 employees, because I've been in manufacturing my entire career, and it's always seems like everybody drives separately. So I was a little concerned with that notice there. But it's 2 shifts right now, but you say they're expanding. Is there any discussion of moving to a 3rd shift?
No, they would not do a 3rd shift, in part because of the cleaning process that's necessary. That 150 employees and 2 shifts is part of their 5-year plan. So it's not immediate day one. As soon as the process lines are operational, they'll have the 2 shifts there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Well, I should ask, is there anyone from the audience that has questions for petitioner? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Okay, so unanimously approved. Congratulations. We'll look forward to seeing you again in the future whenever that happens to make its way back to us. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Next is 3125 North Wilkie Road, Unit F, which is Gold Star Massage, PC 25-009. Is the petitioner here? Come on up and please introduce yourself.
Hi, dear board members, president, all the people. My name is Carina, and I'm the massage therapist, licensed massage therapist, and then being in the medical field for more than 20 years. And over the course of 20 years of clinical practice and continuous professional development, I have created and refined a unique therapeutic massage technique. This method integrates principles of kinesiology, myofascial release, acupressure, physiotherapy, and then target stretching. It is a holistic approach that draws on both modern medical knowledge and traditional healing practices with the aim of promoting physical, neurological, and physiological well-being. My medical education has provided me with the foundation necessary to apply these techniques safely and effectively, ensuring that each intervention is informed by anatomical and physiological knowledge. I strongly believe that therapeutic practice must be grounded in a scientific understanding, practically when the goal is not only relaxation, but also the restoration of function and the elevation of the chronic conditions. A distinguishing feature of my approach is its emphasis of the central nervous system and especially the vagus nerve, which plays a critical role in the regulation of inflammation, autonomic balance, and mind-body connection. By stimulating the supporting vagal function, this method can help address conditions of both physiological and psychological origin, ranging from stress-related disorders, myofascial, skeletal pain, and inflammatory syndromes. In addition, I incorporate the use of natural herbal extracts and therapeutic oils, enhancing the physiological response to manual therapy and supporting the body's innate healing capacity. My vision is to advance this technique as a recognized therapeutic modality, not only to provide direct care to individuals, but also to create opportunities for professional training and employment. By establishing a structured educational program, I aim to share this knowledge with other practitioners, thereby expanding access to safe, effective, and integrative therapy. Ultimately, this method represents the culmination of 2 decades of applied experience, scientific study, and a commitment to innovation in healthcare. I'm dedicated to making it available for the benefit of patients, practitioners, and the wider community. My goal is simple. I want to serve this community with the skills and experience I have developed over the past 20 years. I am ready to help people involve their health, their well-being, and their quality of life. I believe this work can make a meaningful difference for the residents of Arlington Heights, and I'm committed to giving back through self-care and dedication. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit
Thank you.
overwhelmed.
Okay.
Yeah, Darko always was helping me with everything. Slides, and then because I'm not as good with the plan.
You did just fine. Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll ask Ms. Rodman to share staff's perspective on your application.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. As the petitioner indicated, she is a licensed massage therapist, and she is requesting a PUD amendment for a land use variation for the property at 3125 North Wilkie Road. The complex or the unit that she owns is within the Enterprise Office Complex PUD. The property is zoned M1, Research Development and Light Manufacturing, and massage uses are not permitted anywhere within the village, and thus it does require the land use variation in order for her to move forward. She's also requesting a variation from the village code in relation to the number of parking stalls. There are 344 parking stalls required for the entire complex, and there are only 307 provided. And it should be noted that the parking variation is not due simply to her use. There have been previous variations that have been granted for this complex. There are other uses that do not comply with the required parking as well. This is an aerial depicting the site. And then just wanted to provide some details on her business operations. The unit she would be occupying is a little less than 1,300 square feet. She will be using it as a massage and acupressure establishment. I already mentioned the parking. She is initially going to be the sole employee of the establishment, but does hope to potentially expand in the future, should she be able to do that. Her hours of operation are generally between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., but they will be by appointment only. The Plan Commission did consider her request and also recommended unanimous approval of her requested land use variation as well as the requested parking variation. There are a few conditions that they requested be attached to the approval. You see those on the screen as well. And then just wanted to note that the motion before the board this evening is to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare final documents granting the zoning relief she has requested and subject to the recommended conditions, all as set forth in the agenda materials for tonight's board meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Rodman. Manager Reckloff, could you share really quick for the benefit of everyone on the board and anyone listening at home, the idea of a special use for massage space, it's not allowed, and this is the only way to have it accomplished. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. I don't know if Mr. Passman probably could speak more articulately to that, or Ms. Rodman, in terms of how this has been established and how special uses work.
Yeah, well, and my understanding is it's not a special use. This is a land use variation. Right. So, and as Director Rodman indicated, our zoning code does not permit this use as a permitted use or a special use in any district in the village. So
it has nothing to do with where this petitioner is looking. It's just anywhere that someone wanted to do this, they would need to have this
land use variation. Right. So Arlington Heights does permit use variations, as you just handled for the Tasty Breads application that preceded this one. Under a land use variation, if the board finds that standards in the zoning code are met, they can approve a use in a particular location where otherwise it would be prohibited. I don't know if Director Rodman has more to add.
No, that's correct. We do have 2 other massage establishments located in the village. Those were also granted via land use variations. With regard to her specific petition, we do think it's appropriate given the current location. There are other office medical uses in the same complex, so we do think this use is complementary to those existing uses.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, to the board. Anyone with questions, thoughts, comments? None? Anywhere from the audience? Okay, that was really too quick. I think you're in pretty good shape. Welcome to the community. I'm glad you're here doing this tonight. I think we just need a motion and a second and a vote.
I will move to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare final documents granting the zoning relief requested and subject to the recommended conditions, all as set forth in the agenda materials for tonight's board meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Manganaro, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. I think you're in great shape.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and see, you did well. You were nervous, but you did great. Okay. Good luck to you.
And Mayor, if I may, I'll point out for this matter and Tasty Breads, the final ordinance will be on your agenda for your next meeting, the first
Very
week of
good.
October.
Thank you. And those will be on the consent agenda, right?
Correct. With the permission of the board, yes.
Okay, we've got 2 more projects to review. The next one is item D, and that's 1407 East Palatine Road, Sherovich Tattoo, PC 25-017. Come on up, introduce yourself.
Hello.
Tell us why you're here.
Hello, board members and the president. Thank you for having us today. This is the petitioner, Artem Sherovich. I'm his assistant. I'm going to be speaking on his behalf today because he doesn't speak English really well. My name is Inga Tkostova. So we are applying for a land use variation to allow a tattoo parlor in the B2 district. We applied last year for a different location, which was 417 South Arlington Heights Road, which was not approved. So we found a better one, which is 1407 East Palatine Road, and we reapplied this year. We want to open a tattoo parlor at Sherovich Tattoo that will have about 4 or 5 tattoo artists, including the petitioner himself, because he's an experienced tattoo artist. He has an experience for about 10 years. Work hours are going to be from Tuesday to Sunday, starting at 11 a.m. and ending at 7 p.m. We will be using an appointment system as well as taking walk-in clients. And last time we had an issue with the parking, and this plaza has plenty of parking spaces, so there shouldn't be an issue with that. And we believe that tattoos are one of many ways to express yourself, especially among younger population of Arlington Heights community. And we think that we could be a great fit to the area to help people do so.
All right, very good. Anything else for now?
No, that's all we have for now.
All right, again, I think we'll go to Ms. Rodman for further explanation.
Yes, so the request before you this evening at 1407 East Palatine Road is for a land use variation for a tattoo parlor. As with massage, tattoo parlors are not permitted anywhere within the village, and so all of them would require a land use variation in order to locate. They are locating in a B2 district that's a commercial use, and as I noted, requesting that PUD amendment. There are no other variations that are required. This is an aerial of the location of the proposed use. And as they noted, the business operations include operating out of a 866 square foot unit. There are 158 required parking stalls for the entire property. There are 164 provided, so I apologize, that's a typo. It should not be 168. So the overall site is overparked for the mix of uses that are currently located there. They will have 7 employees, and as the petitioner noted, their hours of operation are anticipated to be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. The Plan Commission did consider this request and also voted unanimously to recommend approval to the Village Board of the PUD amendment and the land use variation, subject to those conditions you see on the screen. And thus the motion before the board this evening is to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare final documents granting the zoning relief requested and subject to the recommended conditions as set forth in the agenda materials for tonight's board meeting.
So just for my personal knowledge, they were here before for a different site, is that what it was?
So their previous land use variation request was for 417 South Arlington Heights Road. That did go to the Conceptual Plan Review Committee, received a favorable recommendation, and then went to the Plan Commission in July of last year. There was quite a bit of public comment at that meeting. The public did not feel that it was an appropriate location, and the Plan Commission, as a result, recommended denial of the application. At that time, staff worked with the petitioner to identify a more appropriate location, so they did not bring that particular application forward to the board. Instead, they chose to work with staff on identifying a more appropriate location, which is the location that's before you this evening.
And it all worked out okay for you? You're happy with the new location?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
All right, well, I'm happy to have you guys here. Fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Questions from the board? Trustee Bertucci.
So, Emily, how are tattoo artists regulated? I saw you had this on the screen here at the state level. Is the Department of Professional Regulation or Health?
It's the Illinois Department of Public Health. That regulates them as a body art establishment.
Okay.
So they are required to register with that department of the state.
The establishment or the individual doing the art?
That's a good question. I don't know that offhand. Do you know if it's the establishment that registers or the individual artists?
I believe it's the establishment itself.
Okay. And then do we do any regulation at all of the...
No, we don't. If it is an entity that's regulated by the state, we typically don't then regulate it in addition to that.
Okay. I was just trying to be clear on that, so, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you. I think I'm piggybacking off Trustee Bertucci. So there's no licensing requirement like there might be with someone like a, I won't say that, right? A hairstylist or something like that who they get licensed, but body artists don't get licensed. I'm just curious. I'm not trying to put up any roadblock or anything. I'm all for your project, so I'm just curious.
I'm not aware that they're licensed individually through the
Okay,
state
so
as
it's just
a
the
beautician might be.
registration that you explained. Okay, thank you. That's all.
All right. Anyone from the audience, questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to be made?
Well, I'll move to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare final documents granting the zoning relief requested and subject to the recommended conditions. All is set forth in the agenda materials for tonight's board meeting.
Second.
Motion made by trustee LaBedz, seconded by trustee Dunnington. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Congratulations.
Thank you so
guys have got
much.
it. You have a space.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And the last item tonight is item E, and that's an ordinance amending Chapter 18 of the Municipal Code, Village of Arlington Heights, regarding mobility vehicle and devices. And this is going to be presented by the police department, or maybe Manager Reckles.
I'm going to make a couple initial comments, and then Deputy Chief Zernacki is going to take us home here.
Okay.
As you all know, back on August 11th, the board had a pretty broad discussion about e-scooters and e-bikes, and there was some pretty robust public comment. At that meeting, the village board decided to not move on the kind of more comprehensive set of regulations that staff had prepared, and directed staff to defer this issue to the Youth Commission, the Bike and Ped Commission, and the Senior Commission to get their perspective on these issues broadly. However, there was a desire to draft and discuss an interim ordinance that dealt with some items where there had been consensus in the board, and those were issues related to the faster Class 3 e-vehicles, some out-of-class electric vehicles that are kind of unlisted, defining reckless operation, requiring rider safety equipment, and making it clear that minors that are violating these rules, that there would be parent responsibility for any violations. So the commissions are still doing their work, and we anticipate sometime this fall there'll be some broader recommendations about those Class 1 and Class 2 type vehicles, but given the board's direction, we are prepared to discuss an interim ordinance that deals with those faster issues and the issues of recklessness and so forth. And so staff has put together an ordinance for consideration tonight, and Deputy Chief Zernacki has been kind of running point on that issue, and so he's going to walk us through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. I'll kind of walk through this. So as the village manager mentioned, there was a motion directing staff to prepare an ordinance which addressed those 4 different topics. Regulations for Class 3 low-speed electric bicycles, out-of-class vehicles, reckless operation, safety equipment, and parental responsibility. And again, this is just a baseline ordinance. There is more work to be done, and that'll involve the commissions to get some input and some feedback and perspectives from their experience. So, looking at these criteria, we did redraft an ordinance and updated some of the recommendations, and I'll go through each one of these one step at a time. So number 1, you will see there are some definitions that have been updated in the ordinance from the initial one. Motorized mobility vehicles and devices remain as part of the ordinance because that is necessary to call out all those types of vehicles that kind of fall out of the class of any other ones that are listed in there. So that's necessary to maintain that within the ordinance. The low-speed electric bicycles, so this encompasses Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, very similar to the state of Illinois law. That is separately called out, as restrictions for those devices could be a little bit different. So we have to break apart some of these different devices to be able to call out specific restrictions on them. Out-of-class electric vehicle, so these are the devices that are over 700 watts, and go at speeds above 28 miles an hour. So these are the heavier duty electric vehicles that can go a lot faster. They go above 28 miles an hour. I've seen them advertised as fast as 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. Even watching a YouTube video earlier today, there is one device that's manufactured. I don't know if you could buy it here in Illinois, but somebody was getting it up to 80 miles an hour. So again, this does fall into that class where they're higher powered. So those are all the definitions. We updated those to make sure we called out attention to all the different types. Moving on to the actual ordinance, reckless operation is called out, and that is for all motorized mobility vehicles and devices. So anytime that you're in any type of device, regardless of what class it might be, if you're operating in an unreasonable, unjustifiable manner that places you or somebody else at any type of risk, whether or not there's injury, that could be considered reckless operation. We also put in a caveat for Class 3 low-speed electric bicycles and out-of-class devices. So those are the ones that go above 28 miles an hour, where you have to be 16 years of age or older for those devices. Obviously, with them being higher powered, there does require some level of understanding of bicycle laws, safety, and a certain level of maturity. 16 years of age or older, that kind of does follow state law. So we included that in the ordinance. Obviously, compliance with Article 15 of the Illinois Vehicle Code. So that's all the bicycle regulations. That is also included in the ordinance, so any regulations that govern how bicycles are operated, that's included in this ordinance as well. Location restrictions, the ones that we wanted to call attention to are the sidewalks in the B5 zoning district. So this is very similar to the ordinance we have where bicycles are not allowed on the sidewalks downtown. There is a safety issue there with the proximity of the sidewalk to a lot of the businesses, doors opening, closing, blind spots. It does pose a safety risk. So sidewalks within the B5 zoning district, any motorized mobility device cannot go on the sidewalks. Doesn't mean that they could go on the street, they can, just not on the sidewalks. Rights of way closed to vehicles for approved special events. This calls out events such as Arlington Al Fresco, where currently right now we have bicycles that are prohibited from that area since it's closed down vehicular traffic. This would now include any motorized mobility device. This doesn't mean that you can't, the program that we have, walk your wheels, stop, get off the device and walk it through the zone. You just can't ride it through the zone. Village parking lots and garages, again, this is an area that we've seen certain nuisance activities, including bicycles, and prohibitions regarding bicycle use in those areas. Again, we want to prevent that. If you go through the parking garages, I see very limited use where somebody on a motorized mobility device would be going through, driving through the garage. So we are restricting uses there. Required equipment, lights, helmet, brakes, all those things that keep the riders safe and be able to operate in a safe manner, those are all required under this ordinance. And again, adult responsibility. So anybody that is under the age of 16, if there is anything that would involve parents and their responsibility and having oversight over their youngins, it's included in this ordinance as well. So to try to put in perspective, I came up with a couple example scenarios just to see how this would play out under the current ordinance as it's been redrafted. So are there any specific areas which would prevent a commuter from getting to the train station using a motorized mobility device as an alternate mode of transportation? The answer to this question would be no. They could traverse through pretty much anywhere down any street, whether it's a residential area, whether it's Arlington Heights Road, they can get to the train station. The only areas that they probably can't get through is if al fresco is going on, they can't drive through that, but they can make a slight detour going through there. But it's not going to prevent them from getting to any of those locations. Another scenario, would my 12-year-old child be able to use a motorized mobility device to get to school or after school activities? Absolutely, 100%. They could use those devices outside of obviously the class 3 electric bicycles and the out-of-class vehicles, but they can. So any devices that are a little bit lower powered, they can, as long as they ride safely, have the proper safety gear, and abide by the rules of bicycles on the roadway. Another area, since the ordinance does call out reckless operation, is sample scenario. If we received a call of a large group of motorized mobility riders doing tricks in the middle of the roadway while trying to see how fast they can record their speed on the speed indicator signs, some of the signs you see that say how fast you're going, while they weren't paying attention, another vehicle almost struck them. What can the police department do? This specific scenario, I could say in part, I might have personally experienced something like that, but there is absolutely something the police department can do. Reckless operation would fit this bill. However, we also want to call attention to the fact that we could use this as an educational opportunity. A lot of times, some of these younger riders do not know exactly what the ordinances are, what the state law is. This is an opportunity for our officers to assess the situation, maybe speak with the parents, speak with the minors, and get compliance, voluntary compliance with this. So it's an opportunity to educate. However, in cases of repeated violations, there is the reckless operation that we could fall back on. Penalties. There have been no changes in the penalties from the first iteration. A $75 fine for any first offense if it is written. Second offense doubles. Third offense goes to $250. Under the age of 16, minor and adult may be fined depending on the circumstances, obviously. And impoundment of these devices can happen after the repeated third offense, reckless operations, and then obviously there would be a fee of $250 that would be returned to the owner if they weren't found liable during adjudication. Again, I'd like to stress that the ordinance here, education, compliance, that's the key. If we have something that we could educate everybody on, say this is for your safety, this is for the public safety, that's our goal here. However, we do have some enforcement tools at our disposal to be able to use should the circumstances dictate such. There was one minor last-minute update to the ordinance. There was a small typo, I would say, in the ordinance. That's listed up here on top, just to call attention to that based on what was submitted for the packet for the agenda tonight. Small minor update. And with that, I will leave it open for any questions.
All right, nicely done.
Mayor, can I make one further
absolutely, go
comment? One thing I was going to say is if the board does pass this ordinance tonight, we will be doing a robust public education campaign to let folks know, both parents, children, broadly on social media to talk about this. And, one of the programs we started is the Community Connections program, where we have kind of a better communications relationship with like the library, the schools and so forth. We think the schools are a key part of this, given the families that they have connections to. So I'll shut up.
Yeah, excellent. I think that's key, communication and sharing. Could you go back a couple of slides where you talk about the fees?
Yes.
Right there. So I think it's safe to say, and this is for everyone who might be watching, this is not about collecting money.
Absolutely not.
Nobody in this room is interested in that. In fact, I think Chief's been quoted, even our tickets for automobiles, it's not about collecting money. It's about safety. And with that, when we met on this a month or so ago, there were a number of folks in the audience who were concerned about things that they might not be able to do or the kids might not be able to do. The way this is written, it addresses all of those, right? There's nothing left out here where we can say that a person couldn't get to the train station as you described, or couldn't ride their bike or whatever you want to call it to practice at the soccer team. There's nothing that we missed here, right?
No, reviewing some of the comments from that committee of the whole meeting, we try to address everything in those comments and some of the board's direction as well. It doesn't miss anything. This just provides us the opportunity to be able to have an ordinance which we could educate everybody on as to why we have an ordinance. The reason for this ordinance is for the safety of everybody involved. We're not trying to restrict certain movements, who can use what or anything like that, aside from those more high-powered Class 3 or out-of-class EVs. But no, that's not the intent. And again, the intent is not to collect any money from fines or penalties. Those fines and penalties are more of a kind of a last resort, where certain measures, our education and trying to achieve voluntary compliance was not successful.
Excellent. All right. Thanks. Questions from the board? Anyone? I see hands kind of timidly going up here. We'll go this way this time.
Refer to Trustee Dunnington.
Go that. Well, let's go this way. I went that way last time.
This way?
Yeah.
Sure. I just want to say thank you, Chief Cernicki. I know that you had drafted the previous ordinance, and it led to a very, very good discussion. And I have to, it's obvious that you didn't miss anything, that you did go through all of the comments. And I know that there is no way to make everyone happy in a situation like this. I think we struck a really, really good balance. You notice that the Northwest Municipal Conference is about to have a summit on this next week. It seems like we're neither too far ahead of anyone, nor I think I used the word draconian for what some of our neighbors have done the last time, and we're nowhere near that. I really believe that you have achieved a great result, that there's a lot of consensus on, there's a lot of value in these devices, and it lets the village and the residents of Arlington Heights achieve that value and still educate our folks that may need some help being safer.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
Trustee Zyck?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you for all this. And by the way, if I ask, I unfortunately I wasn't at the last meeting, so if I ask anything that came up, I apologize for that. But to the statement that the mayor said, you know, you've got this one line here: under 16 years of age, minor and adult may be fined. Again, I'm sure it's going to be up to the opinion of the officer at that time who would be involved on what's going to happen there. It's not necessarily like we're trying to do something to litigate this or to anything else past that. But I do have a couple questions. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around. I had an interesting experience just yesterday. I was driving down Arlington Heights Road going north of Rand Road. There was a gentleman who was probably driving on a Class 3 vehicle in the right-hand lane all the way to the side. And it was dangerous for him. Again, if I miss things, I apologize, but is something like that taken care of in this ordinance?
No, so for a Class 3 low-speed electric bicycle, they are by state statute allowed to be on certain roadways and streets, you know, whether it's Arlington Heights Road or any other type of street like that, very similar to bicycles. So this basically mirrors Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. If a bicycle could be there, so can one of these devices.
Okay.
If I could, Mayor, in some of those issues, Trustee Zyck, are some of the ones that will be dealt with. I think anything that's not dealt with here will be things that'll be discussed potentially by the other commissions, and they'll come up with some ideas of possible regulations on those types of issues. Are there some streets that are more appropriate for this? Should they be, use on the sidewalks? That type of thing will be addressed.
Okay. And then as far as the sidewalks, so the locations that you had on there where they can't drive on sidewalks, essentially downtown Arlington Heights. But what are the rules then for all the other areas outside of that?
So a lot of this does mirror the IVC. So under the IVC, the Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3s are precluded from driving on the sidewalks, not on the streets. So by adoption of those IVC violations, which are currently sections of the code that we could enforce, that would also restrict them from sidewalks in Arlington Heights for those specific devices.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Trustee LaBedz?
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing this forward. I would still say this is still the item that I get the most comments and complaints about, and really a lot of it's fear, and the fear is from the people driving vehicles who are so worried that they might have an accident, and possibly a tragic accident with somebody on, especially a young person on one of these motorized vehicles. So this is really, really important to be addressing that. But I do have a few questions. Obviously, this is something you all feel is workable.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, and then how easy is it to tell one class from another class? And I ask that because, I commute downtown and there's, a quarter of the people are on some kind of motorized vehicle, generally riding on the sidewalk or going across the Federal Plaza where I walk and speeding in and out. And I look at them and I think, how do you tell?
It's very difficult to tell. So currently state law does require labeling of certain of the low-speed e-bikes to bring attention to, is it a Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. However, driving down the street, if I was in my squad car, I wouldn't be able to tell unless I stopped the person, flipped the bike over, took a look at the tag, and see what it is. But anecdotally speaking, just seeing them driving and what they're capable of doing could give me a very definitive answer of what it's capable of and what type of device we're looking at.
Okay, well, that makes sense considering what you do every day with any kind of vehicle on the road and whether they might be speeding, whether it's a car or one of these. Just on the location restrictions section, and I just wanted to make sure I was clear in my mind that it doesn't affect the medical mobility equipment. So like somebody in a motorized wheelchair can be downtown, you know.
Correct.
They're, yeah. It's
Yeah,
perfectly
absolutely.
allowable.
So medical mobility devices, toy mobility devices, they're also defined in the ordinance to specifically try to, isolate those that, if we're talking about these, we're not talking about those for specific areas like that.
Okay, great. In the ordinance, there was a lot of mention, or there's mention of, you shouldn't be carrying packages, you shouldn't be, doing that. But one thing, maybe I missed it, but what if there are two people on a vehicle that's really not meant for more than one? Like you see plenty of kids on a scooter with one person controlling it and operating it and somebody else riding along.
Correct. There are sections of the IVC that talk about e-bikes and e-scooters that do call some attention to that, which is adopted by reference under this ordinance. However, this is, as the village manager stated, this is something that could be brought up for the commissions for further discussion regarding that. I've seen some ordinances that do have specific things called out, but we didn't get into that realm.
Okay, that's why I didn't see anything about that. So, yeah, because, certainly a lot of kids will double up on a bicycle, or somebody has, pegs or whatever they call it. Those were usually the boys, not the girls, when I was growing up. So, anyway, and then just one other comment about the public education process. So what I was wondering if it could be possible for officers to carry, like a sort of ticket, but that's not really a ticket. It is an explanation of what the ordinance is, and they can hand that out to a person who they stop and who seem to be maybe riding recklessly or riding where they shouldn't, or so on.
Absolutely. So that's part of the plan. So an educational campaign, we've done it for other ordinances that we've enacted. And just a little fact sheet, something that we could hand out to either the riders, their parents. In certain situations too, our system for citations does allow for the issuance of warning tickets, where it doesn't go to adjudication. There's no fines or penalties associated with that. That could be part of the program as well. Maybe the violation rose to the level, I don't want to issue a ticket. I gave you some educational information, but let me log a warning ticket. So in case I do ever come across you doing something similar, whether it's reckless operation or whatever it might be, I do have a record of that in the system. Somebody, whether myself, my partner, officer on another shift, had this conversation with you, we have it documented, we could proceed from there.
Well, I think that's a good idea, actually. Thank you. And then I guess the last question is, how soon does this go into effect?
I think upon approval, if there's.
Right. This would be part of our village code immediately.
Okay, great, good. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, Deputy Chief Randy, I really appreciate you putting this together, and I am all in favor of giving you the tools that you want. I know we can modify this as we see fit. I just don't think we've tightened this thing up enough, though. And if you feel you have, I'm all in favor of it. But it's usually not 35 and 40-year-olds driving a level 3 bike. And I asked the question last time, Chief. It's very difficult to tell the difference between a level 2 and a level 3. I think this is young kids under the age of 16. And that is the age group that I think potentially could either be hurting themselves, interacting with cars, they're not paying attention, they don't know the rules of the road. These are kids that have not been through driver education. They're riding all over the street, up and down people's lawns. So I think we're missing it a little bit there with the level 3. A level 2 bike, this is a motorized vehicle. Yes, you can pedal it, but you can go into full throttle and ride this bike at 20 miles an hour. And we've been talking not only with our residents, but on this board for the last years about are vehicles speeding in town. And I know you guys are stretched very thin out there with the number of officers you have, and you can't be everywhere all the time, but I just don't see this thing changing people's attitudes quick enough. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I would really like to see this thing when it's maybe run through the Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission, tightening this thing up even more. I mean, we all probably see this every day because we're not out there in police cars. The minute people see a police car, they immediately change their way of thinking. They're driving down the street, you see a police car parked on the side, you slam your brakes on. I mean, that's just normal behavior. But, you know, we see people running red lights, running stoplights, riding. I see people riding recklessly all the time. So I would really like to see this thing tightened up more. Trustee LaBedz mentioned scooters with multiple people on them. I've seen that quite a bit, where you got one kid running the scooter and another one standing on the back end. And I just don't think you guys are out there seeing this all the time, because you just don't have enough, officers on staff to be everywhere every day. So I'm all in favor of it because I know it's going to help you, but I would really like to see this thing tightened up more with the younger kids. A level 2, it's a mini bike, and there's no registration. These are the kind of bikes that I just think are going to get young kids in trouble.
I agree. I believe that this is at least a good, thinking about it, it's a good baseline. If this even achieves, conversations at home between parents and their children when they have these devices, and starts a conversation regarding, hey, listen, there's an ordinance now, you got to be safe, you got to ride safe, don't be doing tricks and trying to see how fast you could go on it. Don't, succumb to your peer pressure from any of your friends.
Right.
At least that's a step in the right direction, starting some of those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I saw one just the other day. I don't know if it was a young man or a woman, but they were on a bike. I too have no idea whether it was a level 2 or level 3. They actually had their legs on the handlebars, and the arms were not on the bike at all, and they were just running right down the middle of the street. And that's the kind of behavior that people see all the time, but I don't think you guys do, because the minute they see a police car, they change their habits very quickly. So, like I said, I'm all in favor of this, but I'd really like to see if we can change people's habits, because, as you said, it's not about the money. It's about changing people's way of thinking, and we need to do it, I think, very quickly before there's a serious accident.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Trustee Santa Maria?
Thank you. Thank you so much for reading all the comments and putting something together. I think this really shows that this was just not a reactionary item, but that we took the time to discuss and come up with various items that would work for everybody. Question based off of what Trustee Schwingbeck had said, when there have been recorded incidents of e-bikes or e-scooters, and if the police have to get involved, do you write down if it's a level 1, 2, or 3 on whatever incident report?
Some of them they do. There's no requirement for us to document what type of bike it is. I know officers have checked whether we've been called out to complaints regarding e-scooters. A lot of times, unfortunately, sometimes by the time our officers get there, the 911 call is placed. We get there 5-7 minutes later. By going at 20 miles an hour, they could be long gone. It's hard for us to find. However, that's something we could absolutely 100% do. I know there's a couple of officers even that understand the dangers of this, and we've seen them initiate activity where they will see some of these younger riders on the street. They'll stop and have a casual conversation with them and have a little safety briefing, I would say, with those riders now, even though an ordinance isn't in place. So our officers do have an appetite, I would say, to make sure people are safe, to provide that education.
Okay, great. Yeah, and if you ever have any data of the differences of who we're catching more of, I think that would be helpful too. Coincidentally enough, I was at a pediatric orthopedic with my son today who broke his wrist, not on an e-bike, but in football. And the doctor was just talking about how many kids are coming in with broken bones due specifically to e-bikes and e-scooters. So I thought it was fitting for this conversation. One other thing I'm going to say, which I know probably sounds ridiculous, but I'm going to say it. I just did a seminar on, as you know, I work with kids and teenagers, and did a whole seminar on if you want to communicate with them, you have to use TikTok. And so I'm going to say I think this would be a time for a great public awareness campaign using TikTok, because then there's going to show up on their For You page. You're speaking directly to them. Even as a millennial, I think TikTok's a little too much for me, but I'm just going to throw it out there as an idea.
Absolutely. Social media campaign's part of the program to educate everybody, so that will be part of our program. Absolutely.
Very good. Anyone else from down here? Trustee Dunnington?
Thank you. Thank you so much for your work on drafting this ordinance. I'm definitely in support of it. I wanted to ask about kind of what Trustee Schwingbeck was saying with, you can't be everywhere and seeing this behavior, and sometimes you get calls that it's gone. Is the village going to do any safety kind of classes or training for kids, more than just giving information, but actually teaching or providing like a fun, like day with the police kind of thing?
Absolutely. There's different ways that we could educate, whether we talked about the flyers and social media and everything like that. I think one of the things that we did discuss as well is partnering with the schools. So bringing some of this information to the schools, that's a great audience. That's where all the youths are going, everybody that's living in the community, partnering with the schools. We got great SROs that work with the schools, so they'll use that as an opportunity during any of their presentations to also touch on the subject. Absolutely.
Great. I have a question that isn't specifically about e-bikes, but it's something in the ordinance. And one of the riding regulations that is for everybody, bikes and e-bikes, is about that we're required to ride single file. And I know that the state of Illinois is you can ride two abreast from each other. And I was reading that the reason for that is mostly about intersections, since that's where the majority of crashes take place in suburban and cities. And so the recommendation is to have two riders next to each other, because then you're a lot more visible to traffic, especially people turning and signs and things like that. So I'm just wondering if our regulation is maybe just outdated in that recommendation to only ride single file, or if you feel like that is the best way for bikes and scooters to ride.
So riding single file or riding abreast, it's kind of split even throughout the nation. There's about 35 states that have ordinances that basically say you can ride abreast, Illinois being one of those states, but there's also states that say single file as well. This has been part of the ordinances for a while, and again, this is something that could be brought up as we're further discussing with the commissions and internally in our group. Is something that should be changed, or we need to look at again.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. I do have one blue card here from Michael. Michael Campagna.
Say them all. Campagna.
Is it a silent G or
Huh?
is it a silent G?
No. It's
Campagna.
Campagna, if you want to get
There you go.
there.
All right, Michael, the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, it won't be that long. The commissioner spoke on most everything. Thank you for your work. But I think this needs to be tightened up, because I'm home all day. I walk several miles a day, and some of these kids, they're not being disrespectful. They're not being wild, but these younger kids,
if they try and get out of your way, I can see the fear in their eye that they're losing control of this vehicle, even at a lower speed, because you're going on the grass. First of all, they're on the sidewalk a lot. You know, I live by Prospect High School, and there's a lot of young kids in the area, not necessarily high school kids, but the younger ones. I mean, there's on my block, I've seen them as young as, I'm guessing, 10 years old on these things. And they're just, they don't know how to control them. And this is a good start, and we don't want to have a tragedy and make a knee-jerk reaction to something after the fact. So I've also seen 40-year-olds on the sidewalk that have no intention to move when I'm walking down the sidewalk, you know, on Northwest Highway. So this ordinance, I don't know the difference between a Class 1 and a Class 3, but they all go at a pretty good clip, and a pedestrian's never going to win, you know, with something that's built up some speed. So I think this ordinance needs to be tightened up with the ages or something. And let's be honest, some of this is parenting. We as parents, I'm a parent of 3. We need to take responsibility, and the schools, that's a great start, because they're there every day, whether they want to be or not. So I just agree with the commissioner, and I think there needs to be some tightening up of these regulations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael. Appreciate your comments. Well, I think that is the plan. The plan is that over the course of the next several months and so on, our bicycle commission, our pedestrian commission, so on, we'll see more information from them, and you guys will certainly learn and roll as necessary, no pun intended. Anything else from the audience or anything else from the board? If not, you want a motion tonight, right?
Yes, if we can get a motion to.
Is there a motion on the screen here that you want us to read?
I don't think we have one. I think it would be a motion to approve the ordinance as amended, amending Chapter 18 of the Municipal Code of the Village of Arlington Heights regarding mobility vehicles and devices.
All right, is there someone on the board willing to do that?
I will move to amend Chapter 18 of the Village Code as we, consistent with the materials in our packet this evening. Is that?
Yeah, I think would say there was one small
with the
edit,
the addition of the typo that.
I might clarify, it is to, Trustee Manganaro, was your motion to approve the
to
ordinance?
Approve the ordinance, yes.
With the correction?
With the correction as discussed here and in the packet.
Second.
Right.
Okay, motion made by.
One fast comment, or just something I wanted to say before, so it's in the record that I missed. We had a quick email conversation this afternoon that this does include distracted driving with the incorporation of the codes. It includes using headphones, being on a phone, and so forth, and that will be part of the education that we do.
Right, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, motion made by Trustee Manganaro, seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. Very good. Any further discussion? Is this a voice vote?
Do you have a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on this one, please, Maggie.
Trustee Manganaro?
Aye.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Zyck?
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
President Tinaglia?
Yes. All right, motion carries. So that is a done deal. We are off of new business, and now it is up to the village manager who wants to have a closed session.
Mayor, I would respectfully request that the board enter into closed session per 5 ILCS 120/2C11 litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the village has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the board finds that an action is probable or imminent.
And
So
also,
moved.
And also the,
two C 21
Yeah, the,
minutes.
yeah, approval of the minutes.
Right. So the request is, if I may, two C 11 for
Yeah.
litigation, two C 21 for review of minutes.
Very good. Okay, that's the motion. Is there someone willing to make that motion?
Moved.
Second?
Okay, trustee Zyck, make the motion, and trustee LaBedz, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say
Sorry,
aye.
I'm sorry, Mayor, you need a roll call vote.
Oh, that's what I meant to do. I
I'm
was
just-
gonna do that.
I knew that. You're testing me.
You're just checking me out here.
Yeah.
Maggie, please.
Trustee Zyck,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Manganaro,
Aye.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes?
Trustee Santa Maria,
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington,
Yes.
President Tinaglia.
Yes. All right. And I guess we are adjourned, right? And we will not be reporting out?
We're not adjourning yet. We're going to closed session, but we won't be reporting out. So.
We will not be reporting out. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.